A man who once sent all of Europe into ecstasy wakes up today among green pastures and horses in Tuluá. The path from sold-out stadiums to the red earth of Valle del Cauca was not a downfall but a conscious decision. After the intense years at Parma and Newcastle, he returned, not to disappear, but to set his own pace. But what remains of a life full of explosions on the pitch when the lights go out? And what does the everyday life of a player who was never ordinary look like? That is exactly what we are going to discover now, step by step. Faustino Tino Asprilla was never destined for mediocrity. His career was not a straight line, but explosive. He didn't adapt to any system. He forced the system to adapt to him. With speed, power, and unpredictable ball control, he kept every game on edge. Every action could change everything. At Cúcuta Deportivo, his talent became visible. He didn't just score, he created tension. The move to Atlético Nacional marked the first big step. There, he won the national title and proved he could deliver under pressure. Hope became certainty. Parma invested around $11 million and gave him the European stage. In almost 150 matches, he scored 42 goals and won the Coppa Italia, the Cup Winners' Cup, and the UEFA Cup. Crucial, however, was not just the statistics, but his influence in decisive moments. In 1996, Newcastle followed. The league was tougher, more direct. His numbers remained solid, but in 1997, he made history with a hat trick against Barcelona. 3 goals that confirmed his competitive character. Injuries later prevented consistency. Other stops followed before he ended his career in Colombia. For Colombia, he earned 57 caps, scored 20 goals, and participated in 2 World Cups. Perhaps he wasn't a player of perfect stability, but one of decisive moments. And exactly these moments shape his legacy. After the end of his active career, Faustino Tino Asprilla did not return to a metropolis, but to Tuluá in Valle del Cauca. There, about 30 minutes from the city center, lies his Finca Santino, surrounded by vast sugarcane fields typical of this region of Colombia. Right at the entrance, it becomes clear that this place bears his signature. A large iron gate with 2 tall stone pillars carries the name Criadero Santino, complemented by metal horse figures that reflect his true passion. A paved path leads to the center of the estate, passing well-kept lawns. The main house is built in the traditional Colombian country house style. A pitched roof with red tiles, a continuous wooden balcony on the upper floor, and natural stone on the ground floor give the building solidity and simplicity. Large windows let in plenty of daylight. Here he receives friends, former teammates, and journalists. It doesn't feel like a cold luxury villa, but like a lived-in personal space. In front of the house lies a large rectangular pool with light stone edges. 2 smaller, round pools are arranged symmetrically beside it. The area provides space for meetings and conversations under the open sky. A bit further away is the most important part of the finca, the stables and the training area for horses. The stables are clearly structured, with a sturdy metal frame and separate stalls. The training area is spacious and specifically designed for riding. On social media, he is often seen riding himself. It is not a temporary hobby, but a fundamental part of his life today. Behind the house and stables stretches a large lawn. There, he organizes friendly matches with acquaintances. It is not a professional stadium, but big enough to keep the connection to football alive. The finca is not just a luxurious estate. It is the place where he returns to his roots, to horses, to football, and to himself. But if this estate is his retreat, how does he get around in everyday life? Which vehicles reflect his life today? His choice of vehicles is surprisingly simple. Tino Asprilla does not own a large collection of flashy sports cars, but only 2 cars that show 2 sides of his current life. The first is a Toyota Corolla from the years 2005 to 2008, a reliable, practical, and inconspicuous vehicle. He has been seen several times using this exact car for charitable activities in Colombia. It is not a car meant to impress, but one that works. It stands for everyday life, down-to-earthness, and utility. The second vehicle is a Mercedes-Benz C300 Cabriolet, more elegant, more personal, and with a different character. He acquired it during the most successful phase of his career. The open design and clean lines convey freedom and style. He uses this car not out of necessity, but for enjoyment. The Corolla embodies pragmatism. The convertible reflects self-confidence and expressiveness. He needs nothing more to show that his life today is no longer dictated by the pace of professional football, but by decisions he makes himself. But what does his financial situation really look like after all these years? After retiring in 2004, Tino Asprilla did not choose a life of excess, but one of financial stability. According to Colombian and British media, his current net worth is estimated at around 5 million US dollars. He is thus not among the extremely wealthy ex-professionals, but he has enough security for a comfortable and independent life. The most consistent source of income is his sugarcane farm in Colombia. With a long-term contract with a buyer, he earns about $7,000 to $8,000 per month, or roughly $84,000 to $96,000 per year. These regular earnings form the financial foundation of his time after football. Additionally, he works as a commentator for ESPN Colombia. His experience in professional football provides him with a stable additional source of income there. Added to this are advertising revenues via Instagram, invitations to events, and activities with Newcastle, the club that shaped his career in Europe. In 2016, he also launched his own brand, Condones El Tino. The product attracted attention due to its direct style and is primarily distributed in Colombia. It is not his most important source of income, but it contributes to diversification and keeps his name relevant. His financial situation today is not characterized by excess, but by structure and consistency. No chase for luxury, but a controlled foundation. But numbers don't tell the whole story. How does he live today as a person, a father, a grandfather? At 56 years old, Tino Asprilla lives a quieter but not idle life. He's no longer under the pressure of big games, but remains connected to football. His everyday life in Colombia is stable, organized, and self-determined. Zijn wichtigste rückhalt is his family. He has a son, Santiago Asprilla Cortés, from his relationship with his ex-wife, Catalina Cortés Lopera. Santiago is over 30 years old, married, and the father of a daughter named Juanita, born in 2015. This makes Tino a grandfather. On social networks, he occasionally shows pictures with his son and granddaughter, quietly and without exaggeration, but with visible pride. In the past year, old injuries from his active days led to a hospital stay in Medellin. After medical care, his condition has improved. Oita had resumed his usual rhythm. During the day, he works as a commentator at ESPN Football Colombia or manages his sugarcane farm. In the evening, he meets with friends, eats together, and has conversations in a familiar atmosphere. Sein Leben no longer revolves around explosive moments on the pitch, but around more conscious decisions. He doesn't try to restage the past, but shapes a present that fits who he is today, and vielleicht lies exactly therein the actual change. Not in fame, not in titles, but in the way one continues to live after all that. If you enjoyed this insight, leave a like and subscribe to the channel to discover more stories of great football personalities from a different perspective. From a celebrated star in Europe's top leagues to a quiet life on a finca in Tuluá, his story does not show a downfall, but a conscious realignment. Titles, goals, and big nights belong to the past, but stability, family, and self-determination shape his present. Perhaps that is exactly the real evolution of a player like Tino Asprilla. Not the pace on the pitch, but the control over one's own life. If you enjoyed this journey, support the video with a like and subscribe to the channel for more insights into the lives of great football figures.